174, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Yes, I just need an explanation on that verse.
Okay, let me, it's customary for us to go one verse before and then the one after. So from
Okay.
173, a living being spirit, it is personal control, working off of animal instinct, inborn impulse. Even some react off of environment. Now going into 174. So, spirit is just a living thing which acts and reacts out of instinct, not controlled by emotions as Pabaa, the soul. To say that a living being spirit is its personal guide and control is to say that living being spirit is its personal God, which is no more than action and reaction, cause and effect. All right, so verse 74, what the master is explaining and teaching us is that, do you remember we teach that every living thing has a spirit, but not every living thing has a soul, or you can have a soul and lose it. So what it's saying in 174 is, so spirit is just a living thing. So that would be a rock, a tree, an animal, which acts and reacts out of instinct. This is why when we teach and explain to people that animals don't have souls, people say, yeah, but I've seen a dog react when, say, another dog is hurt. And what we're explaining, or what Bahana Babianun is explaining here, is that that's a reaction out of instinct. Just like if somebody just comes up to you and raised their hand like they were going to hit you, you would react instinctively, right? Because that's just dealing with cause and effect, or as he puts it, action and reaction. It's very rare that somebody, another example is like when you have, let's say you have a group of people in a room and a bang goes off, like a balloon pops, or there's a like a gun. You see people will react because it's cause and effect. Some people might jump, some people might even start to run, some people might just sit still. So it's explaining that when people just act off of instinct, it doesn't mean that they are acting off of emotions, because emotions is what ties you to the ba'a, or the soul. So is that any clearer now?
A little bit, because the part on which he mentions the internal guide, it's where I fail to connect. So the internal guide
Internal
is the
guide. What
emotional,
verse
or
is
it's just
that? Because 74 doesn't have
yeah,
internal guide.
174, yes.
Let me read it again. So, spirit is just a living thing which acts and reacts out of instinct, not controlled by emotions as Paba'a, the soul. So it's explaining that any living thing will act and react based off of instinct. Not it's not controlled by emotions. This is why it can be confusing for people, because you can have two people or a group of people. This goes to the whole thing about being an originator, where you originate things, or being a imitator. So someone can imitate someone to the point where they can be so convincing that you may think that they're the real thing. So another good example would be like, so like when you watch movies, you can have an actor or an actress that mimics emotions, right? Because in here it's trying to explain to you that it's not, instinct is not controlled by emotion. So when you're operating off of instinct, or you're acting and mimicking emotions, doesn't mean it's real. So an actor or actress can cry on cue with real tears, right? Which to the onlooker might look like, oh, someone is really touched emotionally, as if you would be if you were witnessing something that really touched your emotions or your soul, and you may cry. You know, you may have tears of joy or tears based on, you know, being upset or angry or whatever, right? Now, if you have two people who are crying and tears are running, but one is a trained actor who can cry on cue. Because why do I say cry on cue? Because when you're filming something, you may have to take many takes to get it right. You know, they go take one, take two, take three. So imagine on take 10, you're able to reproduce and cry in the exact same way every single time. That's definitely not from emotions, that's from controlled behavior. Yeah, so this is why people will get confused between people who actually have a soul to those who don't have a soul, but they react off of instincts or just because they are living because they have a spirit. Does that make sense?